Yom Ha'atzmaut, Israel's Independence Day, but also Israel's birthday. So it's a double celebration. First thing is, I want to thank Shalom TV, and I want to thank Ohev Shalom. Without these two institutions, we couldn't do anything, I'll tell you the truth. They are absolutely incredible. Before that, I want to thank a few people, or more than a few people, but the ones I know. I want to thank Mr. Eric for bringing the soloist. I want to thank Tara and Zipporah for putting it together. I want to thank Sage for bringing us delicious food. And if I forgot anybody, please forgive me. When Ohev Shalom said that they would help out and give us our building, tears fell all down my eyes. I was so touched for their generosity. Can you imagine opening a building that big with all the people? This is very touching. So, if somebody comes to you and says, can you please tell me why enormous institutions and big, I can't think. You know what I mean, enormous countries died out and the Jewish people are still living. You hold her hand and bring her to Shalom Orlando and bring her to Ohev Shalom and say, look at these two institutions and you know why the Jewish people survived while all the great nations died out. This is our secret, and one of our secrets is that we are there for one another, and when one institution cannot do something, the other one comes to the rescue. So I want to thank both Ohev Shalom and Shalom Orlando. The next thing is, what am I saying next? In the long, hot summer days, there is the possibility of one drop of rain falling. Oh, I'll say something else before. There are two countries, one of them enormous, great and strong, and the other one tiny and very small. And these two countries fell in love. When the big country saw the birth of the baby country, immediately she fell in love. And the baby country opened its eyes, looked at the big countries, and smiled. Now, some of you may think, why is it that a great big country would bother to love a small country? Oh, maybe it's because the great big country wants to be a mother hen, and she likes to take care of small country. It ain't necessarily so. It just so happened that the tiny country is so incredibly beautiful. She likes to learn, she likes to teach, and she likes to innovate. And so what do? They desalinate in the summer months, not the possibility of one drop of water to fall on the small country is less than the World War III breaking out. So what does a small country do? It desalinates the water. It developed a method, a drip, 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 where the water goes and drips in the right locations so no water will be wasted. And the desert bloomed. And David Ben-Gurion, the first prime minister of this tiny country, fell in love with the desert, and he made the desert to be his home, and that's where he was buried. He loved the desert, and the desert, you know that, is called Negev. So he was buried in the Negev. So a neighbor of the tiny country, Jordan, comes to the tiny country and said, I'll make peace with you if you give me an X amount of water per year. And the tiny country said, Shalom Aleichem. And the Jordan said, Wassalamu Alaikum. They shook hands and they have had peace ever since. And that was in 1994. So now, what else does a small country do? She happens to be gorgeous. Everybody loves the small country. Who didn't hear of the capital of the small country? Jerusalem. And we sing, and what do we sing? Yerushalayim shel Zahar. And what does that mean? Jerusalem of gold. And during the Seder and Passover, when we finish our meal, we say, Leshana Tova B'Yerushalayim, next year in Israel. And so it is the dream of all of us to go visit Israel. That's how beautiful it is. So what else? Do you know when there is a great big disaster in the world, the tiny little country sends doctors, all equipment, and
what are you going to do?
Makes a tiny little hospital and treats the injured. And that doesn't matter. It's all over the world. And the tiny country is one of the first to want help. Isn't that amazing? And what else does a small country do? It's created ways. I don't care that music now. So they created Waze, and what does Waze do? It navigates the vehicles to get to their destination. And they get right there without getting lost. And that's what the tiny country does. And what else does it do? It people who it's one of the leading countries in vitro fertilization. So people who get pregnant, who can't get pregnant in their own country, they go to the tiny country and get pregnant, and they come home with a beautiful little baby. And I can't think, the little country doesn't, do you know the cherry tomatoes you eat? That's the tiny country invented the cherry tomatoes. And who doesn't like delicious food? Baba ganoush. And who doesn't love falafel? And there you are. And
I mean, there's no rush. There's no rush from, well, there's no rush.
For electric cars, they use the lithium battery. And the lithium battery comes from the earth and is very expensive and very, very hard to get it out. So what do? They invented the sodium battery. And the sodium battery is so cheap, you know, salt. And from that, they can navigate the vehicle to go wherever. And that's what the tiny country does. I'm not going to read. Anyway, I'll wrap it up. Now, if you want to do yourselves a favor, go visit the tiny country. You will love it. You'll come home and you'll say, I want to go again. Not enough. So they invented the cherry tomatoes, and you know how delicious they are. And if you want to eat, they love food. The Israeli food is the most delicious in the world, and also very, very healthy. Lots of vegetables, lots of fruit. And I can't really keep saying I am forgetful in my old age. And do you know something? This tiny country is younger than I am. Look at me. The tiny country did what it did, and it's younger than I am. So this is why the great big country fell in love with the small little country. There isn't a day that passes by if they don't call each other and say, how are you today? Did you have a good sleep last night? What's your agenda for today? And they talk and they chat and they are very much in love. And you know what else the tiny country did? It has to defend itself. I don't know why anybody doesn't like the tiny country, but it has to defend itself. So they invented the Iron Dome, and with that, all the missiles that come barging in fall dead on the ground before reaching this. And the tiny country defends itself. So she is not so needy. She's rather capable of taking care of herself. So now we realize that we are the luckiest people in the world, because both countries are our homes. We celebrate both countries. And when one country celebrates, the other one joins in. And that's how it is. So now
Maybe she's done.
it is the tiny country Israel's birthday, and we have to sing. Join me with Hatikvah,
She's done. Stand up with her.
the
Go stand in the back.
national anthem of Israel. Please, everybody stand up and with absolute pride, stand up and loud voice and sing with me Hatikvah.
Stand with her in the back.
Kol Ol Haleva Nefesh Yehudi Ponia Ulfate Mizrach Kadima Ein LaZion Sophia Kol Avdat Tikvatenu Tikva Shnot Alfayim להיות חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון ירושלים. להיות חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון ירושלים. Now we are not done. Because we are such good friends with the big country wants to join in, and Benjamin is going to lead us on the Star Spangled
Can you see by the dawn's early light, surrounding we hail the twilight's last gleam, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. For the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the lungs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you for coming. When I see the crowd, I know that you love Israel and you love the United States of America. And they are the best friends in the world. And everybody is very envious of such friendship.